Hey guys and girls, welcome back to another episode of Dad's Toy Garage. I'm going to bring you today Project Judith, my 1973 Toyota Celica. The race car is a 72. I picked this thing up about 4 years back. It was a guy who bought a property, estate property, and the guy who hoarded cars. And this was like the last one to go. Ton of rust work in here. I was kind of going over the list the other day, and I want to say like 60% of this car is almost being either replaced with like quarter panels with used parts, cause that's all you can get, or built from scratch because out of metal. Now I'm in the bodywork stages with the hopes of getting some primer on this thing within the next month or so, and color would be awesome, but we do got to get it back on its feet yet, so that'll be in there. But this episode we're going to be covering sharpening up the wheel arches, doing rocker panels, and that'll really finish up a lot of this body work, leaving very little left to do in terms of block sanding, body filler. Yeah, let's get right into this. Join me guys if you want. Let's have some fun with this and see what we can get done in this video. So this may look like just a mumble jumble of stuff, and these are the front struts from both Celicas. Sorry, I've lost my voice. I had a cold yesterday. I did something that I never wanted to do in a car, which is separate the coil springs with a coil spring compressor. I did not video this process because it scared me, and what I have learned is do your research on this job and go slow and take it cautious. Make sure you follow the steps and you will be alright. I'm happy that the top nut, these are all where the camber plates would go if you do aftermarket camber plates, the top of the strut, that they were all loose and came nicely with the impact wrench. So the reason I'm separating both and not just one set is right now Toy Tuning, who I want to get my adjustable coilovers from, they have, you can get a core charge on your old strut casings, so that is the plan with these. I got one here that's been stubborn, this bolt head, so I'm going to have to keep playing with that, but these two are the ones that are going to Toy Tuning. And these two are the ones that are going to get cleaned up and turned into coilover adjustable struts for the front of my 1973. This one right here. Alright guys and girls, I figured I had to at least videotape this. I have 4 of these struts that have been taken apart, and Bob and I worked a whole evening with this one bolt here. I ended up cutting off the ball joint because I got the extra parts. Cutting off the steering arm, the torque wrench, the impact gun, it was rounding out the head, so I ground it clean, welded this huge bar onto there, and even pushing right at that point, it was stiff. Alright guys, I'm taking this thing off, whether it wants to come off or not. But she's been a fighter. Now it's nice and loose at least. And you know, Tony and I bought this breaker bar not as a breaker bar. It was supposed to be some parts for a car, but it's just too heavy duty. So this is the new use for it. At least I'm getting some use out of it. And victory! That makes me happy. Did you get a load of all that rust? That was what was holding me back. Got the first part of the rocker panel block sanded, and that is down to 80 grit. And then I would like to do this part of the rocker panel yet, and up in the wheel arch. So I'm going to be doing this inner wheel arch now in 2 parts of body filling, because there's a right angle here and a right angle here, and it flows that way through. So I'm going to start with the inside, and then I'll start with the outside to come to this point right here. So I've got this sanded flat on the inside here now. So I got to run a tape to cover that, and a tape along this edge here. And then we'll fill this little bit here. And here's how I'm going to finish off this wheel arch with a putty in between the two tapes, and that'll help us get the line the way we need it. Alright, this line need a little bit of crisping up, so I redid it again, and now we got a nice and sharp line. It looks real good. So now I'm going to be working on the rocker panel and the fender. I'll probably body fill over it, trim it out. On the other side as well, this side, this is actually pretty nice underneath here. It's not like there's any hammer marks. So the very bottom under here, I'm just going to sand like that and leave as is. But I will address this area here, kind of sand it out a little bit smoother. So when you flip it over, nobody actually sees the bottom edge, and it's really good underneath there anyways. But when you get down low on a side profile, you always see the pinch welds there, so that's important to me that looks good. Alright, rocker panel's got a body filler on it now. I've trimmed out the gap line here, and I've filled the bottom, so we'll get this sanded before I sand this top ledge in here or do any body filler in the ledge there. Alright, so the rocker panel is now done. As you can see, I got to finish the lip of the front fender, but the rocker panel is now done. We'll just pull the car down here, see what we got going inside. So in here, I've already done this edge, because as you can see right here, it was a little bit low because I had to do a lot of shaping of this rocker panel. It was not the right shape when I got it. So this is done. I'm gonna fill up these spot welds again like I did on the other side, and block sand some of this in here. I'm working on the front fender here on the wheel arch lip, and I'm sharpening up a little bit. I think it'll help flow with the back. It's kind of quite rounded, so I'm just putting a little bit of sharp edge here the same way I would do this. And this is kind of the look I'm aiming for when I'm done. So we'll turn the car down, so when you come by you get a nice clean line when you walk by. So I pulled the masking tape off. I've already worked this edge here. I put the filler on and I just kind of sanded it a little bit more of an angle, and then I've taped it and I worked the filler off of this side, so that'll give us a nice crisp edge. That'll look really good on this car. Yep, I'll be happy with that. Alright, so it's hard to see here because the tape's yellow and so is the body filler, but I've taped along here and I'm slowly block sanding this away. I've taped my style line off, and so I want to sand up against there. That'll be the first step. So I got to sand it up here, and that's kind of what we're after here. I'm going to put a little bit of, just take my finger with the sandpaper when I'm all done. I got to do a little bit more with just an 80 grit right now. Just kind of run it over here a little bit like I did the back, and that'll get me the nice line that I'm after. I've just finished off the wheel arch lip, and I'm very happy with the result. I've squared it up nicely here, and the last thing I did now was just with 220 grit rounded off this edge with my finger, and that's the look I'm after. Alright guys, I crisped up the other side, so I figured I'd do the passenger side as well on this edge here. So now we'll have a nice pronounced edge, and I finished it with just by hand with some 220, so it's not like super sharp. That doesn't look right either. But there's the other side, and this side looks a little more sharp, but we got a different kind of shadow here with the way the lights are not as direct on this side. Well, thanks for joining me on this episode of Dad's Toy Garage. I've had a blast working on this project. It's been a multi-year build. It's not like a SEMA build where it's all done in a matter of weeks and months. I do this on my side. I have a full-time job, so this is a side project, kind of stress relief, end of the day, work late into the night kind of thing, hang out with buddies, working on cars. That's just what I do in this shop. It's fun. And if you want to see more of this kind of stuff, if you enjoy watching the videos, give it a like, give it a thumbs up, and I'll keep bringing you fun stuff to watch. So until next time, we'll talk to you later.